up with that grub. I'm starving. About time. Tastes like a bowl full of worms. I said I wanted grub. Weren't you listening? Your mother never cooked like this. Hey, what are you doing?
I was just getting
You
some...
eat when I say you can eat. Now go get a broom. This floor is filthy. What do you think we are, pigs? You expect me to eat this garbage? You can't do anything right. Can't cook. Can't keep the house clean. You know what? The wrong member of this household is buried outside. It should have been you and not your mother. Did you lock that door? You better have. If it blows open and gets dust all over my food, you've had it. I'll take off my belt and I'll get... Close it! Close it! Close it! It'll bury us both! Close it! Well, look at that. Look at that! What did I say would happen? Well, what do you got to say for yourself?
I...
Quit your muttering and speak up!
If I speak up, you'll hit me.
You're gonna get smart with me, girl. You're gonna give me lip, huh? Well, we need to fix that. Come here. Come on over here and take down your...
My sweet, sad, blasted tootsies. Oh, that's so much better.
Who are you? What are you doing in my house?
Greetings. My apologies for startling you. I was looking for refuge from this terrible dust storm, and your door was open, so I walked on in. Pardon my luxury.
Well, I didn't see you come in. But that don't matter anyway. You're gonna get out, mister.
Out? Back into that horrible maelstrom? But surely that would prove fatal. I have no protection, as you can plainly see.
Uh-huh. Well, it'll be fatal for you to stay in here. Now get out before I give your guts a window.
There it is, that good old plain folks Dornheim hospitality I've heard so much about. Charming as it is, I sure wish you wouldn't point that weapon at my head. It's rude. Lower it, would ya?
What did you just say?
Well, excuse me, maybe I didn't make myself clear. I said, put
down the gun. All right.
Splendid. I am much obliged.
That dust storm is just so treacherous.
The winds would rip my flesh clean away, burrow into my eye sockets. Breathing would be just impossible. Utterly brutal. I could only survive for about a minute or so. Now, why don't we all have a nice sit down? Oh, and you, delightful young lady, please sit down next to me. Now, to be clear, I am addressing Agner Vangrim and child Gladiola, correct?
Yes. What's wrong with my daddy?
From what I can see, plenty. Pleased to meet you both. My name is Mr. Sympathicus. I am the executor of the estate of your brother Wyant, sir. I'm sorry to inform you that the dear man no longer walks among the living. He was killed in an explosion at a chemical plant in Carhino on the world of Nandor. However, the upshot is that he has left you with all his interworldly possessions. It is all detailed here in this document. Would you care to read it? Or would that be too much of an exertion?
I can read it, mister.
You, my dear?
Says that, all of Wayant Van Grimm's, my uncle's, possessions are yours, Daddy. Tax-free. Mr. Sympathicus is to provide us with transportation to Van Grimm Greens upon your order.
Very good, Miss Van Grimm. May I ask who your teacher is?
My mama? She died.
Oh, I see. Well, Mr. Van Grimm, I've known your brother for many years, and it was quite surprising that he would will you such a large fortune. After all, and I say this candidly, he despised you. Oh, not you so much, Miss Gladiola, but you, sir. It seemed as if every third sentence out of his mouth concerned that bumbling fool of a brother of his out in Dornheim who couldn't grow mold on cheese. So many insults with so much vitriol behind them. It was all rather amusing. But I would understand if they offend. Are you offended, Mr. Van Grim?
I'm fine.
I say, Mr. Van Grim, I have further business to discuss with Miss Gladiola here. It's of a rather sensitive nature. Would you mind giving us some privacy for just a few minutes?
Sure. Few minutes.
But Daddy!
Very obliging. Now, as for you, young miss, I notice that you're looking a bit peaked. When's the last time you ate?
I didn't eat.
Well, that's terrible. Here, the finest fruits from my sun garden. I grew them on my airship. I have a talent for growing things myself. Nothing that would impress you or your family, I'm sure, but please, try some. Do you like it? My dear, you don't need to shy away from me. I'm not going to hurt you. I just came to tell your father about his wonderful inheritance. There's so many things he could buy with it. Food, clean clothes, a fitting burial plot and headstone for your mother. But it seems to me that I won't be able to do that, what with him having gone off on a tour to that sandstorm.
You asked him to go outside.
Well, I asked him for privacy. I figure he'd go into the next room. Of course, this being a one-room shack, I realize now that that's impossible. I probably should have told him to put his fingers in his ears or something. Well, live and learn. Maybe.
He shouldn't stay out too much longer. Another 20 seconds or so, and I'm afraid that you might become an orphan. I figure he'd be awful grouchy at the both of us if he could make it back into the house. Oh, you locked the door. Very smart. I feel so much safer now.
Gladiola! Let me in! I can't breathe out here! Help! Open the... Help me! Please! I can't see! My eyes! Breathe!
Well, congratulations, Miss Gladiola. You get everything. All of your Uncle Wyatt's things are all yours, including his debts, which, sadly, tended to be quite substantial. However, the Predient Corporation was willing to assist him in that regard, and I am delighted to tell you that they have agreed to offer the same services to you. All it requires is that you just sign your name on the dotted line, or just an X if need be, and the date. And if we could just have a witness sign the... Splendid. It's all yours. There's one other issue that must be addressed. Your great fortune, which will only grow in the coming years, will draw the ire of con artists, thieves, and politicians, if you don't mind my being redundant. They will be envious of you. You must guard against their thieving ways. There's one man in particular whom you have to be especially mindful of. His flippancy and gentle demeanor are deceptive. Let's establish it right now. He's there for your downfall, to ruin you and take everything you have. Beware the man who calls himself Benjamin Banneker. Do you understand?
Yes.
Splendid. Well, with that said, let's not dally around here any further. My airship is waiting just outside. I think a trip to more pleasant climes is in order.
What about the storm?
Storm? What storm? I have a good feeling about you, Miss Gladiola. A future of success that you can only imagine. I may even end up working for you someday. Wouldn't you like that? I could be a very persuasive man.
I'll have to think about it.
I hope so. I have an appointment with Miss Gladiola Van Grim. I arrived via transportal just now.
We indeed have an appointment scheduled for one, Mr. Gregor Mustig. at 5 on the hour.
Ah, yes, my good drone, that is me, Mr. Gregor Lustig, Esquire. I'm here to see the landlady of this estate as she has graciously acquiesced to a sales call.
1 moment, please.
You have several of my most humble thanks. I shall wait here patiently.
Mr. Lustig?
Ah, yes, Madam Van Grim.
The same. Welcome to Van Grim Greens. I appreciate your promptness.
I'm a bit early, but on time is 15 minutes too late, as everyone's father says.
Do they? Please, get in.
Well, this is a fine flying platform you have here, my lady, although I'm surprised to see you flying it.
You are?
Well, I might be mistaken, but I thought you preferred to have robots do that sort of work.
Driving is a freedom, Mr. Lustig. It doesn't require the mind-numbing tedium needed for quality farm work.
Ah, yes, the Home Office told me that you weren't really fond of hiring sentient beings.
Not exactly. However, I find it economically beneficial to stick with smart machines, thus I rarely employ sentients, and even then, mostly for show purposes.
Show purposes?
A dinner I hosted last week, for example. The catering staff was entirely Praetorian.
Ah, I see. To impress the swells, huh?
Telling a machine what to do isn't as satisfying to the pathologically insecure as ordering around a person. For work, however, I prefer automata. No sick days, no payroll, and any labor disputes end with disassembly. Still, sometimes a sentient touch is necessary. A robot would have merely driven you from the estate to the mansion. Here we can enjoy a more scenic trip.
Scenic is right. I can't see the end of the fields. They just go on. I heard that from the center of the estate, the entire plantation spreads on for 8 miles in every direction. Is that true?
True enough.
And that mansion, it's like a palace.
There's a small cocktail room on the 2nd floor. I'll bring us in there.
You know, this is the 2nd time I've had the pleasure of docking inside the 2nd floor of somebody's home. Well, the first time was unintentional, but everybody gets to be a student driver once.
It's late, Mr. Lustig, and I always pour myself an aperitif before dinner. Yourself?
Oh, I appreciate that, madam, but I'm afraid I cannot. I'm restricted by my religious beliefs.
Very well. Please sit down. No, Mr. Lustig, not there. The green recliner is the more comfortable seat.
Oh, I see. Are you sure that you would...
Please, I insist, sir. You are my guest.
Well, certainly, ma'am. I want to thank you for your time. I know that you're a busy woman.
I was intrigued by your pitch. I only ask that we focus on the high points. Dinner will be served in 8 minutes.
Ah, yes, of course. Well, as I stated in our early correspondence, Universal Farming Machines isn't just in the business of selling farming machines. No, we build the future of agriculture. When our lab genies came up with the Omni Processor 3000, I said to them, folks, there's only one woman who could put this next-level piece of tech into practice, and that is Gladiola Van Grim, a businesswoman whose name is synonymous with technological advancements in farming. Let's get the prototype into her capable hands and see how she breaks it. And that is exactly what I came to you to discuss today. Madam, will you do us the honor of breaking our new machine?
I see. And you're willing to offer me this prototype free of charge?
That and to just file the occasional report about how impressed you are with its performance.
Your offer is tempting, Mr. Lustig, but...
Please, call me Gregor.
I'm afraid that I have a couple of concerns, Mr. Lustig. My crops are picked and processed in large quantities for several public and private buyers. Thus, I work on a very tight schedule.
Ma'am, I implore you, please think of the benefit of having 2 high-speed processors working side by side. Plus, the OmniPros is fully automated and programmed for self-maintenance. No need for any sentient interaction at all. Would it be too much to ask if I could take a tour of your processing facility? I promise I would be all finished by the time dinner started.
Sadly, I cannot grant you access to my facility. When I need repairs done, they're done in-house. I'm sure you understand there are security issues involved.
Oh, well, of course. Security is always important. Well, I don't want to take up much more of your time, and I know a formidable intellect when I see one. Would you mind if I left you with some of our literature? Plenty of statistics on our wonderful new processor, complete with pictures, so you can admire the artistry of our tech people.
Mr. Lustig, you don't need to leave anything with me, as you will not be going anywhere.
I won't? I'm sorry, I don't... are you inviting me to dinner?
Dinner will proceed as scheduled. And no, you will not be there. I shall go downstairs, have a nice Gultherian bisque with red wine. You, on the other hand, will stay right where you are. Do you see this bauble I have on my wrist?
Yes, it's quite shiny. In fact, I,
Well, it is not a bauble, Mr. Lustig. It is a paralyzing device. In addition, the chair you're sitting in is a fashionably adorned restraint apparatus. It was built with some additional features that are geared toward making the occupant more cooperative. Enhanced persuasion devices, if you will. Now, if you'll excuse me, I cannot brew a cold bisque. I shall be back in 32 minutes. Plenty of time to consider whether you'll be forthcoming with the true reason for your visit, Mr. Banneker. Well, Mr. Banneker, I trust you're in a more talkative mood now?
I certainly am. This armchair you were sitting in is a lot more comfortable than that torture chair. Which, I suppose, is the point of both, really. But nonetheless...
How did you get out of that chair?
Like I get out of every chair. I stood up. Oh, after using this little gadget to undo the restraints. It's a deactivator unit. I would have used it earlier, except the battery compartment is a bit loose. Need to have a chat with Gary about that. He's my gadget guy. He's a great gadget guy, but sometimes I swear
I strongly suggest you sit back down in it.
No kidding.
You seem to have forgotten how unpleasant I can make things for you. Very well.
Ah, the paralyzer beam. I'm sorry to disappoint you, and that is a terrible lie, by the way, but that won't work. I've used my little sabotage fairy here to find and shut down just about every hidden gadget in this room. The stun wave emitters you used on me are no longer functional.
I see. Well, I was told you were clever, sir. Perhaps I underestimated just how clever you were.
Please, I do the same thing all the time. No need to be ashamed. Why don't we have a nice cup of tea and we could discuss things like civilized...
I wondered why you used such a poor ruse to mate with me, as well as why someone with your reputation would be interested in my processor to begin with. As such, you will not be leaving until my curiosity is satisfied.
You know, you enjoy an interesting amount of confidence, madam. I mean, the door is right there. There is nothing keeping me from leaving.
You enjoy the same confidence, sir. For you see, there is quite a formidable obstacle between you and the door. That would be me.
Oh, come now, don't say that. The very suggestion of assaulting a woman turns my stomach.
I see that you didn't sabotage these feudal era sabers on the wall.
No, I hadn't. They're in a coat of arms. I thought they were just decorative.
Oh, they're quite functional. Allow me to demonstrate.
Ah, my shirt!
Get back into the chair.
The chair? The chair? The torture chair. Look, I'll sit in the torture chair. Here. I'm sitting down now. I'm sitting nicely.
Very good. Now hold still.
This armrest is kind of uncomfortable, though. Especially this spot right here.
What are you doing?
Blast it, Gary. There. We're both armed with deadly blades and can now both kill each other. Now maybe we can have a civil conversation.
How did you get that weapon?
Your caterers, madam. The one time during the entire season you hired sentients instead of robots. The Kratorians, remember? Well, some of my best friends are Kratorians, and several were in with that group. They prepared my buddy the torture chair here, allowing me to escape, and stored my sword in a hidden compartment in case the need arose, which apparently it has now for the third time. Can we please discuss things rationally?
Defend yourself.
Oh no, that was a priceless whatever that was. You have my deepest... Ah! Come on, don't give me that look. That was more you than me. Madam, please, we really don't have to...
Have you changed your mind yet about hitting poor defenseless me?
No, but in fairness, that was a leg sweep.
Please, don't force me to... Oh, why do you hate my shirt? This is getting boring, don't you think? If we're going to dance like this, we can at least play some music. What's a good sword fighting song?
Hold still, you prancing idiot.
Huh, never heard of that one. I know, top 40 hits. That always drives me to a violent frenzy. Let's just turn on the radio over here on your desk.
Get away from that and fight. What is that?
Kids and that pop music these days. Everything sounds like an emergency signal to me. Well, I'll be. Emergency signals on all channels. I wonder what's happening.
You've done something to my radio, obviously.
Have I? Across all 250 bands, including the crossworld frequencies? You give me too much credit, madam. Let's try the Sigma band.
I've moved to another building now. Folks, we'll keep broadcasting as long as we can. Are we on? Are we on? All right. The creature is heading away from us now, just sort of wandering through the city. There's no way to tell where it may turn next. The authorities have used every weapon they have against the creature, but there's been zero effect. Their most powerful weapons haven't even slowed it down. This is the first time I've ever really gotten a look at it. I had difficulty explaining what it looked like earlier, and now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to say I still do. The thing is huge. It stands taller than a 3-story building. It's like a walking storm bound together by glowing energy. Something out of a nightmare. Everything it touches turns to ash. Well, it's moving away now. Can't really see it from here. I don't know if the danger is over, but authorities are telling everyone to run to the nearest war shelter. Do not stay in your homes. Run to the nearest war shelter to find... What? What is that? Oh no. It's turning around. It's heading this way. Everybody get out. Everybody get out.
What is the meaning of this?
Well, it's apparently about a power beast rampaging through the city. They just said so on
The what?
The power beast on Brython. You know, it's big and powerful and beastly, as the name would imply. It's a power beast.
This is not the appropriate time for humor, Mr. Banneker.
And I am not joking, Miss Van Grimm. I'm being serious. Have you not heard of the explosion at the metalworks on Brython? The collapse of the 10-mile tenement? All those people...
Is that what this is about? I've already been through an inquest and cleared. Those disasters had nothing to do with me.
Perhaps not. But a common element found in every one of those disasters was the presence of Calaton D, a plant-based binding gel, in the metalworks of the buildings that collapsed. One that your company specializes in producing. Every sample we took had your plantation's genetic stamp on it. It's unmistakable.
You're accusing me of conjuring some kind of monster?
I don't know. I can't be sure yet. You see, after the disasters, the debris was cleaned up and stored for investigation. Little by little, the gel began to disappear from the structures they held together. We thought they had just dissipated. It turns out they were coalescing in sewers, in water treatment plants, siphoning energy from hydro generators. Over time, it became massive. We still can't estimate how big it is, only that it finally revealed itself and started destroying everything in its path just yesterday.
Why?
It seems to be looking for something. It's sending out a signal, and the signal is being answered by your processor.
That's worlds away from here. How could my processor possibly be affecting it?
Signals that can cross space at lightning speed isn't unheard of. Last reports indicated that it could build its own transportals.
That's absurd. No creature can make its own portals.
That's precisely what your uncle said the night he died.
My uncle?
Yes, your Uncle Wyant, your father's brother.
I know who my uncle is. What did he have to do with it?
Old man Wyant was on the verge of losing his business until a squirrely little piece of malevolence named Mr. Sympaticus approached him with an offer from the House of Simus to pay off his debts if they could use his farming facilities.
The House of Simus? That cult?
Cult, gang, legion of villainy, horde of telemarketers, the same. One night, a power beast emerged from Wayne's plantation out of Carhino. He called for help, and a friend of a noted individual called me in as a scientific advisor.
You mean the government called you?
Conclude what you will. The beast was the kind that hadn't been seen since the reign of the Ataxians. They were almost invincible, and House Simus was trying to bring them back. And your uncle, poor sap that he was, had unknowingly helped their cause.
Now you're speaking gibberish. My uncle died in a chemical plant explosion.
I've heard that fairy tale too. If it makes you feel any better,
Wyatt's story ended with a noble sacrifice. He destroyed the processor that had birthed the beast. The next day, we learned that his estranged niece had inherited everything. Any idea whom that might be?
So you invented that silly feint in order to sneak in and destroy my processor.
You were never above suspicion, sadly. You couldn't be arrested, and there was no proof of your guilt. My associates figured it would be best to send me to investigate you, so I had my friends come early to prepare the place for my arrival. If nothing else, ma'am, I respect your reputation.
You have quite the reputation too, sir. I know who you are, Mr. Banneker, and I know what you and your people do, pretending to be liberators when you're nothing more than petty spies, thieves, and saboteurs. I have no sensible reason to believe you.
That's unfortunate.
What? What is that?
That would be some of my assigned associates running headlong into the processing plant's defenses. They were a compulsory assignment. I had no choice in the matter. They said that they'd wait for my signal. Knuckleheads. You know, for someone who amounts to little more than a glorified gardener, you seem pretty well prepared for a firefight.
I prepare for everything. And I was told at a young age to prepare for you. You never had a chance, I'm afraid. I made doubly sure not to miss anything.
Yes, I realize that now. You've cunningly anticipated or countered almost every single one of my maneuvers. All except one.
And what would that be?
Leaving. You see, you're no longer standing in front of the door.
Bye!
You failed to be an effective obstacle to the door!
Vexatious dastard.
You shouldn't be running with a sword like that. You could be tripped by some cad hiding in the bushes.
I'll make you pay for that.
I guard.
You broke it.
You're rich. You can buy another. Now, if I could just get you to turn your head a bit to the left.
The defense machines.
Yes, indeed. They've taken up position around the processor building. You'd think that they'd be surrounding their owner, but no.
Marius, RUR? Come in. Marius, did you hear me?
What's wrong?
My security master robot. It's ignoring my signal.
My guess is that he wouldn't be very happy to see either of us. Is there an alternative way into the processing plant?
Yes, there's a maintenance passageway running directly underneath it.
Does it run under the processor?
No, but there's an exit to the pump room inside it.
For when you add nutrients to the irrigation system.
We can access the processor through there, but we'd be foolish to think the robots won't be guarding it.
Oh, I'm sure they will. And I've made arrangements. It's not a large arsenal, granted, but it should help us get through the passageway. Oh, and please, help yourself.
This is a bomb.
Indeed it is. If we're going to destroy the processor, we'll have to use a bit more than hateful stares.
We can't just shut it down. What in the world?
Air support.
Would you mind telling your friends to stop obliterating my home?
Correction, they are not my friends, they are associates. And I can't get through. Signal's blocked.
Towering examples of competence. I'm taking this rifle. Follow me and try to keep up.
I shall try.
Come on.
I can't be sure, but I think one of your robots spotted us.
That should hold them for a while. Keep moving. It's just a few yards ahead.
Miss Van Grimm.
Marius, what are you doing here?
I am guarding the processor, madam.
Well, you're to stop guarding it. You and the rest of the work team are to shut down immediately. All of you. Marius, do you understand me?
Yes, madam.
Marius, do as you're ordered.
No, madam.
Oh no, he's deploying his gun. Gladiola, look out!
Damned insolent robot.
Nice shot. I wonder where his head went. Well, no matter. How are you?
I am disconcerted and annoyed.
All right. Well, come. Let's get this done. If we destroy the processor now, maybe the robots...
It's this way.
If we destroy the processor now, maybe the robots will shut down without its commands.
How can you be certain about that? They could be receiving commands from anywhere.
I have it on good authority that your paymasters had it engineered that way.
My what?
Your paymasters, House Simus, the people who destroyed your uncle, the people behind the Predian Company, the people to whom you sold whatever soul you may have had to, those paymasters of yours.
Learn this before you die. I have no paymasters. I have affiliates, partners, and, like you, associates. But no one is my paymaster.
Fine. Is that it over there?
Huh? Yes, that's it.
Okay, well, this is it. Better get to it. Not a lot of time to lose. Of course, I don't have the bomb.
No, you don't. But you know that.
I do. I figure one of us has to cover the other while she sets the timer.
She.
Time is not on our side, and you know the thing's vulnerable spots better than I. Press the blue button, turn the dial, pull the lever, then run. Got it?
You can't seriously expect me to do this. Destroying this unit would damage my business. I'd lose face among the merchant community.
I'm pretty sure your paymasters, associates, would understand.
Don't push me, sir.
Oh yes, because clearly you're the biggest threat here. Decide what you're going to do!
They betrayed me, didn't they? Of course, I always knew they would. I prepared. I've readied myself for this. Why do I hesitate? Why am I arming this bomb? That fool interloper is busy with the robots. They may finish him off, and I can deal with them. I can control this. I can. What was that? What is it?
They're gone. The ships are gone. All the robots have been...
Shivering gods.
They're just gone. It came through the dimensional door in your greenhouse. It's destroying everything. Its very body disintegrates whatever it touches. Everything in its path is being reduced.
Dust.
It's eradicating the house. You've got to...
This way. Let's go.
Where am I? Gladiola?
Yes, Mr. Banneker.
Are you all right?
I'll do.
What happened? What an unexpected preponderance of wine bottles.
We are in Wine Cellar North. 1 of 5 on the premises.
Perhaps the other 4 survived as well?
Doubtful in the highest.
I must have blacked out. Did I hit my head?
Yes, you did. After I tripped you on the stairs leading down here, fell headlong into a shelf.
You tripped me.
1 for 2, sir. I owe you another.
Well, fair enough. You also seem to have neglected to finish me off, I notice.
I never neglect anything. The thought crossed my mind. I mulled it over and concluded it would be more advantageous to let you live.
Oh, I agree. Much appreciated. What advantages were you envisioning?
I would imagine that you have backup transportation harbored nearby?
Yes. In fact... I'm getting a signal again.
The robots were likely dampening it before, or that thing, perhaps.
And there we go, my crew's coming for us.
I can't move the door. We're buried under dust and debris.
Well, they'll find us, and they'll be able to dig us out.
I expect there to be a certain amount of legal immunity, seeing as how none of this was my doing.
Well, that'll have to be determined after an investigation, but,
You gave me the bomb and left me alone at the processor. Why?
Well, a very foolhardy impulse, to be sure, but it just didn't feel right. I know of your history, Miss Van Grim. I know you to be cold and ruthless, but I also know other things. The businesses you built without help from your associates, your refusal to give up even in the worst of circumstances.
Then there's the legislation you sponsored for anti-piracy on poorer worlds, to say nothing about the charities you donate to, particularly for the children in...
It was a foolhardy impulse. You're right. I could have changed my mind. Leaving me the opportunity to take my own actions was idiotic, but very noble and wise. If you claim to know me as well as you think, you'd realize that taking things out of my hands is a very dangerous thing to do.
Wouldn't dream of it. Where will you go now?
Several places. I don't keep all my valuables in one spot.
I see. I'd be willing to help you with that.
That won't be necessary.
And in return, I was hoping any animosity between us could be put in the past. It'd be much better to have you as a partner than an enemy. Perhaps since our philanthropic goals tend to have the same focus, I was thinking maybe we could even work together. Nothing permanent, of course, but I'd like to know that I could rely on you when the chips are down.
I'll have to think about it.